Ragnar Lodbrok, born into a noble family. In most Scandinavian sagas, Ragnar is portrayed as the son of a king or noble chieftain, born into a noble family. His father is sometimes named Sigurd Ring or Sigurd Snake in the Eye. However, names and genealogies vary across different versions of the sagas. Ragnar's mother, in some versions, is Aslog, the daughter of the legendary hero Sigurd, a very common name in Denmark at that time, and Queen Brunhild, which also grants Ragnar a special status as a demigod or hero. He received the nickname Lodbrok. Lodbrok roughly translates as snakeskin pants or leather rags. According to legend, in childhood, Ragnar faced a test. He fell into a snake's den and did not die because he wore special boots or pants that protected him from snake bites. This event symbolized his bravery and invulnerability. In another saga, as a youth, Ragnar decided to prove his strength and courage. According to tradition, he once jumped into a venomous snake's den to steal treasures and demonstrate his bravery. This feat earned him the nickname Lodbrok, which means patchy pants, as one version suggests, because he wore patched clothing made from snake skins. From childhood, Ragnar was raised in Viking traditions, training in weapon handling, seafaring, and military conning. He was prepared to become a warrior and leader, readying him for military campaigns and tribal leadership. Early sources describe that even as a teenager, Ragnar showed himself as a brave warrior, participating in initial raids or demonstrating courage in battles. These stories often emphasize his fighting spirit and strategic mind. There are no historical documents detailing Ragnar's childhood. He mainly appears in poetic sagas, where his early life is symbolically represented through trials and early acts of heroism. Ragnar's childhood is mainly a collection of legends and folklore that highlight his uniqueness, heroism, and future destiny as a great warrior. Symbols like snake skins and early trials show that from childhood he was destined for a leadership role. Although there is no factual basis for these stories, they continue to influence the image of Ragnar as a cultural symbol of the Viking era.
Wives of Ragnar Lodbrok. Lagertha is the most famous of Ragnar's wives. She was a true warrior. The saga tells that Ragnar met Lagertha when she took part in a battle, showing bravery and strength. She is described as a brave, decisive, and independent woman, capable of fighting alongside men. Lagertha bore Ragnar a son, Bjorn Ironside, who himself became a great warrior and led Viking raids, gaining much influence. The texts also mention two other sons of Lagertha and Ragnar, but they died young or were killed early. Therefore, there are no detailed records, and sagas say little about them. In legends, Lagertha and Ragnara are often depicted as allies and equals, which was quite unusual for Viking times. Nevertheless, Ragnara as a chieftain cooperated with Lagertha, who had her own settlements and a war band. Aslog. Aslog was Ragnara's second wife. Her name is more legend than historical fact, as some texts say her real name was Christian. Christian is described as a girl with extraordinary wisdom and magical abilities. It is said she was the daughter of the famous Viking and prophet Sigurd, again a name coincidence, not related by blood. The story states they met after Lagertha's time. She bore several sons, some of whom, if not more famous than Ragnara's eldest son Bjorn, at least reached comparable fame, as many legends and heroic sagas have been woven around them. Different versions of sagas mention other wives and concubines of Ragnara, but the most significant and well-known are Lagertha and Aslug. It is possible that the number of wives was used in legends to demonstrate Ragnara's status as a great chieftain capable of forming numerous alliances.
Children of Ragnara. Bjorn Ironside. Bjorn, Ragnara and Lagertha's eldest son. His nickname, Ironside, is connected to his strength and resilience in battle. There's a legend that during a fight, Bjorn stopped an enemy's sword by squeezing it between his ribs before knocking out the attacker. Although likely a myth, it highlights his heroism. Later, Bjorn became one of the most prominent Viking chieftains, leading expeditions into the Mediterranean, conquering lands and expanding Scandinavian influence. Ivar the Boneless. Ivar earned his nickname, the Boneless, probably due to a disease. Possibly he couldn't move properly or had skeletal issues. But thanks to his intelligence and cruelty, he became a formidable warrior and strategist. He led the great heathen army that invaded England and inflicted significant defeats on local kings after Ragnara's death. Sigurd Snake in the Eye. Sigurd took his nickname from a snake-shaped mark on his eye. He was a brave warrior, participating in many campaigns alongside his brothers, and is believed to have inherited some of his father's royal lands. Hvitserk. Little is known about Hvitserk, but one saga mentions that he participated in campaigns with his brothers and was known for bravery. His name means white shirt. Ragnar Hodek, or Rollo. In some versions, Ragnara is said to have a son named Ragnara Hodek. Rollo, considered by some sources as Ragnara's son, became the founder of Normandy, the land in northern France where he established Viking influence and a new dynasty. In the popular series Vikings, Rollo is depicted as Ragnara's brother, which is not historically accurate. The story of Rollo is a separate and fascinating topic. If you want, I can write a detailed history of Rollo as well. Other children are mentioned in various sagas, such as Eric, but the most notable ones are those involved in large military campaigns.
Ragnara's campaigns. One of the most famous episodes is Ragnara's campaigns to the Anglo-Saxon kingdoms like Northumbria, Mercia, and East Anglia. Legends say Ragnar, along with his brothers and sons, launched a series of raids, capturing towns and looting wealthy monasteries and settlements. His armies often used swift strikes, combining sea raids on longships with ambushes on land. Particularly, the siege of York stands out, one of the major cities of the time. This event is detailed enough to warrant a separate video, as it provides extensive material. Siege of Paris, 85 AD. One of the most famous historical campaigns, the Siege of Paris in 885. According to chronicles, Ragnar led a fleet of hundreds of drakkar ships and longboats down the Seine River toward Paris. King Charles the Fat tried to defend the city, but Ragnar's forces were too numerous. Paris was taken, and to avoid destruction, the king paid a huge ransom to the Vikings. This campaign became a key event demonstrating the Vikings' power and pushed European states to seek new ways of defense. Raids in Sweden and Denmark. Some legends mention Ragnar's military campaigns within Scandinavia, especially in infighting among chieftains. These contributed to the legend that Ragnar united Denmark, although historically this is unlikely, yet within epic tales it fit the times well. Death of Ragnar Lodbrok, one of the most famous and dramatic stories in Scandinavian legend. As with much of his fate, it is based on sagas and tradition, with no historical confirmation. According to legend, Ragnar was captured by King Ella of Northumbria during one of his raids on England. Ella, seeking fame and revenge for his land's devastation, ordered Ragnar to be thrown into a pit of venomous snakes, where he died a painful death. Before his death, Ragnar is said to have displayed exceptional bravery and calmness, which emphasized his hero status. Ragnar Lodbrok as a symbol of the Viking era, a vivid and multifaceted image embodying the core traits of that time, ideals and values. That is why Ragnar is not just a saga hero, but a symbol of an entire historical epoch. If you enjoyed this video and watched until the end, please like and subscribe. It's easy for you, but it's additional motivation for me.